So you learned to say no at a very early age, probably because the adults in your life wanted to keep you safe. So they were telling you no quite often. As a matter of fact, I'm willing to bet that you learned to say no before you learned to say yes. Well, we're going to talk about the value of saying no, especially during the holiday season, in just one moment. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Stress Talk Live with Marcyline. This is where we help women over the age of 40 to live healthier lives through strategic stress management and solution focused self care. I'm Marcyline Bailey, and I am your host for tonight. I'm so glad that you joined me. I'm looking a little rumpled here. So just excuse me. I've been working hard this weekend. I have. I really have. I played a little bit too. Um, we played pickleball on Saturday. And for those of you who are just hearing about all the hype about pickleball and you're wondering what's the big deal, it is a lot of fun. I got to tell you, it's a lot of fun. It's very social. And if you decide to pick up the game, I think you'll love it. We're enjoying it right now. So I know I look a little frazzled here. Not only did I play pickleball, I was in class all weekend, beginning on Friday evening, and then all day yesterday and all day today. So, whew, I really need to take a moment to take a breath. And not only that, as you all know, we are in the middle of 30 days, 30 messages, and 30 activities. Our Get Through the Holidays Without Losing It experience. We are sending daily messages to those of you who subscribed to help you to get through the holidays. Now, what do I mean by these daily messages? Well, they're video messages, short clips where I am sharing some of the strategies that I use and I have used over the years to help myself enjoy the holidays. Because women, I mean, let's face it, we usually approach the holidays with the mindset that we have to make sure that everyone else is having a good time and their holiday is enjoyable, but then we forget about ourselves. And so these strategies actually help you to develop your own set of strategies to get through the holidays, enjoying it, enjoying your family without burning out and being stressed. So that's what Get Through the Holidays Without Losing It is about. Before we get started, what I'd like for you to do is, as always, follow ML Bailey Consultants on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. If you want to know more about ML Bailey Consultants, you can go to this link right here. That link right there, it gives you lots of information about what we're doing and where you can find us. As always, here's my website. You can always go there as well. What are we talking about today? We are talking about saying no. Saying no. I'm going to share 3 super simple ways to bring stress down during the holidays. And yes, it's by saying no. That word you learned early on. But when we become adults, we don't always use it. We don't use it with other adults. Why? Well, one reason we don't use it is because we don't want to hurt anybody's feelings when we tell them no, especially if it's someone that we care about, someone who is a loved one. We don't want to hurt their feelings. And so we tend not to say no. Another reason we don't want to say no is because we don't want conflict. We don't like conflict. We don't enjoy conflict. And that word, that little bitty word, is often the impetus for conflict. And so we tend not to use it. Finally, we don't say no because we are just um, we don't stand up for ourselves and what we want. We let things go and then we have feelings about it, right? We don't speak up for ourselves. So today, I'm going to share three simple ways to bring your stress down, and it is around saying no. Now, first of all, I want to say to you that no is not a four-letter word. And you know some four-letter words. You probably say them. You've heard them and you say them. And we even condensed them because we're texting and we're on social media. We've condensed those four-letter words into letters. Like I told you, one of my three letters that I often use are WTF. And you know what that means. You know what that means. We also use WTH. And you know what that means too, don't you? Don't you? I know you do. I know you do. So, but the word no is not a four-letter word. It's two. N-O. And if you turn it around, it's O-N, which has nothing to do with what we're talking about. The point I'm trying to make is it's okay to say no, especially during the holidays, because you want to be able to enjoy your holiday with your family, with the people that you love. So, the first thing I'd like to share with you is just say no. Just say it. Say it boldly. No. Yeah, well, maybe not that bold, but you could. You could say it boldly. Remember back in the early 80s, Nancy Reagan had a slogan. She started a whole movement by telling people to just say no to drugs. Well, those of us who are in the business of in therapy and in the medical field and all, we all know that it wasn't that easy. You couldn't just say no to drugs, especially for people who were addicted. However, the message was simple and it resonated and it went, in today's language, it went viral. And people were starting to say, just say no. Well, I'm telling you, you have the ability to do just that during the holidays. Just say no. So you might ask, well, Marcy, how do you do that? Okay. One of the ways that you can say no without being caustic or abrasive is to start with a positive response. And I'm not saying an affirmative response, saying yes. I'm saying a positive response. And we can use an example of perhaps one of your friends invited you to a holiday gathering and you're just not feeling up to it. Start with a positive response. One of the things that you can say is, wow, that sounds like a wonderful event. Or, wow, you know what? I'll bet that's going to be lots and lots of fun. Or, hey, I would love to spend some time with you on Saturday. That sounds like we would have a great time. Those are very positive statements. When you preface no with a positive statement, it actually diffuses some of those feelings that you perceive the other person might have, some of those hard feelings. But you start with a positive response. Hey, that sounds like it'll be a wonderful event. Or, you know what? I would love to spend time with you on Saturday. Or, just sounds like that would be the best time. And then you decline the invitation. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to make it. Or, you know, I won't be able to come. Or perhaps we can do it another time. Those are all ways to say no. Start with a positive response and then decline the invitation. Just say no. It sounds simple and it takes practice. But again, when you start with a positive response, it is easier for the other person to accept your declining of the invitation, and it also helps you to um, not take the perception that there's going to be harsh feelings to the nth degree, right? Just say no. Another way to say no is to be honest, right? Just be honest. Honesty is the best policy, especially when it comes to saying no. Tell the truth. Tell the truth. No, I'd rather not do that. No, I'd rather not do that on Saturday. No, I have another engagement. No, I really need to clean my house because I have 50 people coming and my house is a wreck. And you could say that to your BFF, right? You could say that to your best friend, your good friend, because if they are your good friend, they've seen your house when it's a wreck. They've told you your house is a wreck, and they've offered to help you clean your house because it's a wreck. That's what BFFs do. So you can be honest about it. And honesty is definitely the best policy. The other part of that, though, is you really don't have to give an explanation. You don't have to explain yourself. I think this is where we get into a quandary because we don't want to just say no, and we want to explain why. But we want to explain why in a way that doesn't hurt the other person's feelings. You can just say no, no, I can't do that on Saturday, or no, that doesn't fit in my schedule, or you know what, I'd rather not, or let's do it another time, or this is just not a good time for me. You don't have to go into a detailed explanation as to why you're saying no, unless you want to. So, number one, just say no. And there are many ways to say no. Start with a positive response and then decline the invitation. Next, remember that honesty is always the best policy. Just say, no, I can't. You can say, no, that's not a good time for me. No, I'd rather not on Saturday. No, it doesn't fit in my schedule. But you do not have to go into a long, drawn out explanation. You don't have to give an explanation. Just say, no, I'm just not available that day. No other explanation is needed. Okay? So tell me what you think. Drop it in the comment section. Drop it in the comment section to let me know what you think. Of course, if you're watching by replay on YouTube or Facebook, you can still leave a comment. I'd love to hear what you have to say. The other part about saying no um, is that half truths are lies too. Just remember, as we're talking about honesty is the best policy, half truths are lies too. And people who are close to you deserve better than that. People who you care about deserve better than that. Also, people who are like neutral in your life or who are not all that meaningful, you don't have to give an explanation. So you might say to me, well, Marcy, what happens if the person I'm talking to just continues to push and push and push? Like, hey, you can do it. Hey, well, what do you have to do? Well, come on. And they insist that you say yes. They're trying to drag a yes out of you. What about them? And what about that situation? One of the strategies that I use when that happens is I just start repeating myself. I do it all the time. I repeat myself. And I do this, I just say it. No, that's not going to work for me. And if they insist, no, it's just not going to work for me. And they may insist again, no, it's not going to work for me. And if they insist, no, I see what you're doing. I see that you're trying to come up with a solution. It's just not going to work for me. You just repeat what you've said. You don't have to make up an elaborate story. You don't have to go into details. You don't have to give a long, drawn out explanation. You just repeat what you said. No, it's not going to work for me. No, I can't. Really, I can't. I hate it, but I can't. You just don't veer from that. You stay on message. I'm not able to do that. Okay. All right. Let's move forward with the third way. And this is, I added this because I've had questions about uninvited guests. What happens if someone brings a guest who's not invited? Now, oftentimes this is an issue when we have family members or close friends um, who bring someone that we don't care for, that we really don't like, we really don't care for, we don't want to be around, we don't want them to come to our home. Um, what do you do then? How do you say no? Especially when you don't have advanced notice. So, the strategies that I'm going to share with you are strategies that I learned from Miss Manners, the etiquette person, the person who tells us how we should behave and interact in a kind and appropriate way. So, when let's say you're having an event, a family gathering, family get together at your home, and you have a family member who brings someone to your home who you don't like, who you don't want at your home. They're uninvited and they just show up. What do you do? According to Miss Manners, this is really a boundary issue. And the boundaries are not necessarily they're boundaries that you've set, but you may not have communicated to the person who brought the uninvited guest. So you want to make sure that you're clear with your family, with your friends, with your loved ones that, hey, I would just prefer hey, I would prefer that you choose another gathering to bring Susie to, or to bring Phil to, because it's not just women who, Phil, or who are, I would prefer you make that clear. You always want to be clear about that. Let's say you haven't been clear. First of all, if your loved one is bringing someone who is not invited, just understand that they're bringing them because they recognize that you are a warm hostess. You're someone who, or warm host, you're someone who is usually open. They know that the gathering is going to be fun. It's their family, and they want this person to be a part of it. So just recognize and acknowledge that if your loved one brings an uninvited guest, they're really giving you a compliment in a sense. Okay. Yeah, I know sometimes it can just be a pain and they're just doing it to get under your skin, but you don't have to let it. You don't have to let it get under your skin. You want to treat the uninvited person respectfully because they're your guest and they are a guest in your home, whether you invited them or not. So you want to treat them with respect. You want to extend to them um, loving kindness, compassion. Now, I'm not saying this for someone to bring somebody uninvited to my house. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying, oh, Marcy, I'm going to be, I'm not giving you an invitation to bring somebody uninvited to my house. I would prefer that you talk to me first and just let me know. But on a serious note, um, they're your guest, and you want to treat them with respect. You don't want them to feel as if they're not welcome in your home. Be the gracious host or hostess that um, that you are. Secondly, give the uninvited guest the benefit of the doubt. They may not know that they are uninvited because the person they came with brought them along. So they may not know that they're not invited. You want to instead of being mean to the uninvited guest or nasty to the uninvited guest, you want to deal with the person who brought them. So let's talk about that for a few moments. Deal directly with the person who brought them. Take them to the side and just say, hey, you know what? I would have appreciated a heads up that you were bringing another person. I had things planned so that everyone would be comfortable. So, I would have appreciated that heads up just so I would be prepared and so that all of my guests would feel comfortable because that's my goal. Next, once you put them on the spot, enlist their help. Basically, let them know. Say, so because of that, would you mind helping me to make sure that your guest is accommodated and that your guest feels comfortable? Would you do that for me? Because putting that responsibility on the person who brought the uninvited guest takes the responsibility out of your hands. You do not have to be the hostess with the mostest. You can be respectful, but you don't have to jump all in. You put that responsibility on the person who brought them. The other thing is, let's say that you've already set the table with the appropriate number of seats based on who was invited. There's nothing according to Miss Manners that says you cannot seat them separately. Since the guest was uninvited and there's no room at the table that you've set them, allow them to sit at a different table. There's certainly nothing wrong with that. Also, if you need extra stuff, like you don't have enough cranberry sauce because you have an extra guest, send the person who brought them. Let them be your gopher. Let them do the running around um, for you to make sure that their guest has everything that they need and that they're comfortable. Always remember that you have the right to say no. When you have an uninvited guest, however, it does put you in a bit of a quandary, and you don't want to come across as a as someone who is mean, nasty, etc., etc. As I said before, give the uninvited guest the benefit of the doubt. So, we've been talking about ways to say no. Saying no. Three super simple ways to bring down stress during the holidays. And yeah, I know that when we say no, it can be stressful, but it can also be a great relief. First, just say no. Just say no. If you're invited and you don't want to go to an event or a gathering, start with a positive statement and then follow with declining the invitation. Next, honesty is the best policy. Just be honest. You can just say, no, I'm not able to do that. No, I won't be available. No, I'd rather not. You don't have to go into any long, drawn out explanation or give any more details. And if the person presses you and tries to get you to say yes, just repeat what you said. No, that's not going to work for me. No, I can't. No, I'd rather not. No, 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 no. Next, what happens if you have an uninvited guest? Be a gracious hostess or host like you planned to be and deal directly with the person who brought the uninvited guest. Simply say, pull them aside and say, hey, I would have preferred that you talked to me before you brought someone who was not invited. I planned for X number of people. And so, because of that, I'm going to need your help in making sure that your guest is accommodated. Again, if there's not enough room at the table, seat them at another table. And send the person who brought them and use them as the gopher. Send them out for that extra cranberry sauce or that extra bottle of soda. Whew, well, that is all for now. I always enjoy being with you, spending time with you. We are into the holiday season. If you have not signed up for Get Through the Holidays Without Losing It, I'm sorry, it's a little late for this year. However, I am planning some big things for you in the new year. So make sure you stay alert. Make sure you look out so you'll get in on those things as well. I'm Marcyline Bailey. I'm so glad that you joined me this evening. Look forward to seeing you next time. That's all for now. Take good care.